Let me start with a jolt. In September 2024, thousands of beeps across Lebanon turned into blasts, pagers and handheld radios, those low-tech lifelines meant to keep militants off the digital grid, detonated almost all at once. The casualties were massive. The shock was total. Today, I'm unpacking how an operation like this can even exist, what it says about modern warfare, and why it could change the rules of trust in supply chains forever. Here's the headline: Stripped Down. Reports point to a long game by Israeli intelligence to quietly lace communication gear with tiny amounts of explosives, then seed those devices into an enemy's ecosystem. Not through a battlefield drop, but through something more mundane and more terrifying: the normal flow of commerce. Front companies, legit-looking brands, marketing that made the gear feel safe, secure, old school. Think about the psychology here. When you're worried your phone is a tracking beacon, you go analog. You reach for tech that feels invisible. That's the trap. By the time these devices were trusted, they were everywhere. Pockets, belts, command posts, convoys. Then one signal, timed, coordinated, and the network turned on itself. If the reporting is accurate, this wasn't just an explosion of hardware, it was an implosion of logistics. Couriers gone, schedulers gone, spare parts gone, even the habit of trusting your gear, gone. This is psychological warfare 2.0. It doesn't just target people, it targets belief. If I can make you doubt the objects that keep your organization running, I don't need to find you. You'll slow yourself down, you'll stop communicating. You'll second-guess every shipment, every vendor, every beep, and that's the deeper story. Supply chain infiltration as a battlefield. We usually think of supply chains as ships, warehouses, barcodes, but modern conflict lives inside that flow, in labels, firmware, spare screws, even packaging. Zoom out. The lesson isn't limited to one country or group. Any organization that relies on distributed gear, from radios to routers, has a new nightmare. Because if the pipeline that brings stuff to your door can be manipulated, then safety checks, vetting, and redundancy aren't bureaucratic delays, they're armor. There's also an ethical crater here. Civilian spaces and informal markets often blur with militant logistics. When the method is invisible and the target is embedded in everyday life, risk spreads, accountability gets murky, survivors and bystanders carry the cost. So where does this go? Expect a scramble. More in-house manufacturing, even if it's slower. Tamper-evident designs and forensic auditing of parts. Randomized sourcing and quarantine test labs. Operational drills that assume the tools in your hand could betray you. And yes, expect copycats and countermeasures. A tactic this disruptive doesn't stay secret, it becomes a template, then a deterrent, then a new normal to defend against. The takeaway I can't shake: trust is now a target. Not just trust in people, but trust in objects, everyday tools that feel harmless until they're not. If warfare once lived on front lines and fiber lines, it now lives in procurement orders and product catalogs. In the end, the shock was the point. The context is the warning. In a world where everything is connected, the most dangerous weapon might be the one you chose because it felt safe.